Alright. Let's continue. Hunting Cavern. All I imagine is like this cave. And the moment you enter in it's just like you the hunter and the hunted. Like the moment you enter that cave, like a bunch of things are chasing you and you chase something else. Like it's like this like, and like you have this urge, right? You have this sudden urge to just be like, oh god, I gotta get that thing. Gotta hunt it down, kill it, make a trophy out of it, or eat it, or anything like that. Okay. A lot of saves in this one. This is a 4th save now. SCP-130... Excuse me. Oh god, itchy. Itchy. 1303's location is to be cordoned off with standard security fence cameras and no trespassing signs at a distance of 1 kilometer from the entrance. A team of 4 agents should remain on duty near SCP-1303's entrance at all times in National Park Service Ranger uniforms to intercept approaching civilians and direct them away from the site. Yeah, you don't want civilians to become hunted for whatever is inside that cavern. Should containment be breached and an unauthorized individual obtain access to SCP-1303, 2 of the 4 agents should enter the site on tethers and attempt to retrieve the trespassers alive. Upon successful retrieval, Class B amnestics should be administered and the individual relocated to a safe distance. SCP-1303 is a linked set of 11 natural caverns located in Redacted, with 1 known service entrance and a series of interconnecting passages. The cavern size ranged from 10 meters across to approximately 37 meters across, reaching a maximum depth of 120 meters below ground level. Okay. The location is host to 2 potentially related phenomena, designated -1 and -2, that constitute the location's anomalous properties. That's another thing happening in I think the very first SCP is the only one that was like its own being. Like Liquid Surgeon is only a chair. The Singing Violin is 2 things. The Lost Chaser were 3 things, and Hunting Cavern also is now 2 things. Only Liquid Surgeon was the only thing. Was like Fluff, I might go in a bit. I'm getting very tired. I'm starting to get a headache. No problem. It's all good. You did say you were very tired to begin with, so. Where was I? There we go. Through the entire period of Foundation ownership of the site, -1 and -2 have never been observed to overlap the areas of effect. -1 is an intermittent effect that consists of the total absence of acoustic transmission within its area. It has been known to occur in every cavern connected to SCP-1303 network, including the entrance cavern, though it exhibits no discernible pattern for manifestation. The phenomenon persists for a variable amount of time, ranging from 5 minutes to a record of 4 hours, and its boundaries never extend past those of the cavern it is currently affecting. Within -1's area, no sound waves of any sort can be generated or detected, regardless of whether they will be generated by a source inside the area traveling outward or vice versa. I don't know what... I would feel very uncomfortable if I was in an area where no matter how hard I try, no sound would happen. Because especially in an area I would not know so well. I'm already very try to observe my surrounding type of person. Like it's like, oh, okay, this is where this leads. This is where that leads. This is where I can go. This is where the less people are. This is where the more people are, and so on and so forth, right? And sound is of course an important part of that, of being able to tell where shit is, but not being able to hear anything is yeah, it's a whole like if a tree fell in a forest and you weren't there, does it make a sound? But if a tree fell in the forest and you were there and it doesn't make a sound, how do you feel then? The effect extends to both mechanical devices and living subjects, though it is only known to manifest when a living subject is present. Affected mechanical devices exhibit all signs of perfect functionality except for the inability to transmit or detect sound waves. Which is now also a thing. Can a human hear a sound, but then like the machine won't record it? Is that a... Because that's a bit different than what I expected. If that's the case, like if humans can still hear, but it's just you just cannot, for the life of you, record it. Personnel within -1's areas of effect have persistently reported a sensation of being stalked or followed, catching glimpses of something moving out of the corner of their eyes, and had an urge to either flee or turn and confront whatever it is there. Yeah, see, that's exactly the reason why I would hate being in an area where like there's no sound, because the idea of like somebody behind you but you don't hear them. No. The song that's playing right now, the Ghost is Here from Scooby-Doo Zombie Island, is perfectly fitting, right? Like you would think like you are all by yourself, but then the ghost is actually here. In all such cases, electronic media and other personnel regularly fail to sense or detect the supposed stalkers. Though multiple personnel within an affected area each experience such feelings independently. Due to dependency on minor echoes for balance and orientation, individuals who attempt to flee put themselves at high risk of injury. -2 is an effect similar to -1, though instead of actively suppressing sound waves, the phenomenon completely inhibits any production or detection of visual, infrared, or ultraviolet light. Are you saying that -1 doesn't let you hear shit and -2 doesn't let you see shit? Like, because that's... Ugh. I just had a vision of like the movie the Descent, where like a bunch of like college friends went down a cavern and they bumped into those monsters, right? I think they were blind, but of course, like the whole thing about the movie is that like after a while they lose all the like light sources. I mean, they have some, but it's definitely a lot tougher for them to get out of the caverns because they just majority of the time they have to like they don't have that many lights. So imagine that kind of scenario, but of course add the extra information that you don't even hear the monster coming towards you. Because in the Descent, let's see, the Descent monster crawlers, that makes sense. Yeah, I mean look at these guys. But I don't think they're am I wrong to say that they're blind? Yeah. The Descent is pretty good. Pretty good, like, concept. The whole idea of, like... I mean, a lot of movies nowadays do it. Like being trapped in an area and there's these beasts lurking around. It's not new anymore, but the Descent was definitely very like revolutionary for what they were doing. Of course, the CGI nowadays, there's some CGI moments, but most of it is actually very like practical effects, which is pretty impressive. But yeah, no, the Descent is a good movie. I would definitely recommend it for any horror fans out there. Not the second one though. The second one doesn't really make that much sense, to be honest. It manifests in any... Well, I mean, it does make sense, but it's just like it takes away a lot from the first movie instead of adding to it. It manifests in any of the SCP-1303 caverns except for the entrance cavern and persists for anywhere from 5 minutes to over 9 hours. Like -1, it affects both living subjects and mechanical devices without otherwise impeding their operation. Only manifests when a living subject is present, though its effects remain for a variable duration after the subject has left its area of effect. From the outside, the phenomenon appears to be solid, opaque, black wall, though it has no physical permanence and can be crossed freely. From the inside, no visual input of any kind registers, regardless of the location of the source. While inside, an instance of -2 personnel have reported hearing over the background noise of the cavern. noises that indicate an approaching creature or object of some kind. The exact details of the sounds vary, but in all cases exhibits traits of something or someone approaching the subject at a slow, deliberate pace, and in no instances has any such sound been registered or detected by recording equipment. As with -1, exposure to this effect triggers an enormous strong fight or flight urge in affected subjects, which can lead to significant personal injury in the rough terrain of SCP-1303. Yeah, see, like the end, like you feel like you're getting followed while you're inside a cavern. That's definitely the one area where you don't want to feel. I mean, in the forest you don't want that. In the city at night you don't want that. But in a cavern, in a place where you cannot for the life of you sprint, because you could trip and injure yourself real bad. Oof. Interview log -1. Ooh, this is a long ass interview log. Okay. See, one of the civilians found outside SCP-1303. Oh shit. We caught one, boys. We caught one of the civilians. Oh, you gonna get it now. You gonna make sure that you gonna feel it. Ooh. Yeah. Oops, one too many. Alright, let's go. Dr. Foundation researcher. Forward. Purpose of the interview was to acquire a first-hand account of SCP-1303 before its identification and containment by the Foundation, with additional data regarding concurrent exposure to -1 and -2. Begin log. Mr. B, please tell me again why you and your friends were in that cave. Because, sir, it was supposed to be fun. We're cavers, all of us. Me, card-carrying society members. We called our grotto the mole rats. There's nothing quite like going on the ground somewhere humans haven't torn up and remodeled yet. Called everybody up last week, said he heard about a cave not far from here on the society forums that we could check out. And you decided to go spelunking there. Caving, sir, if you don't mind. Spelunkers are the amateurs, the newbies. Cavers know what they're doing, bring the right stuff for the job. Caving, then. Yeah. We got all of our stuff together, helmet lamps, backups, even had some of those chemical glow sticks, pair of pants, brought our wetsuits along just in case, ropes and food. The sleeping bag stayed in the car with the wetsuits in case we needed them. Jack drove us out there. It looked like a pretty ordinary cave to us, sir, in the hillside. No one around for miles, no signs of anyone had ever been there, not even hazard make. I am getting such Descent vibes. I'm so sorry, but I am. It gives me so much Descent, because like, wasn't the whole style of Descent is like, oh, I found this, there was like this, apparently this cave that nobody explored before. How about we go there, and then like, they brought all the equipment, and like, it's like, we love going caves ourselves, we're professional cavers. And next thing you know, fucking monsters come up, and they're like, oh, bite your face off, and they're like, oh shit! And then like one person escapes, and I forgot, does she go to any police station afterwards, or any like public help to explain that that place is fucked? I forgot if that person does it. But okay. It looked like a pretty ordinary cave to us, it's in the hillside. No one around for miles, no sign of anyone ever had been there. Not even the hazard markings. Please continue and describe what happened inside. Yes, sir. It was just a cave, really. Some pretty rock formation, nothing extraordinary. No mammoth or pepper sauce, but a nice little space. Found a stream coming out of the wall that led down a tunnel. Must have been a few hundred feet or so into the cavern. Bigger one. Had a couple of ways to go, so we flipped a coin and went right. That third cave was the biggest yet, but halfway across. Subject stopped speaking, begins to look ill. Continue, Mr. So we were right about in the middle when I went deaf. At least that's what I thought happened. Jay was talking to me, then stopped mid-sentence. I thought he'd seen something, so I stopped and looked at him. He was looking back at me, and neither of us could hear anything. His lips moved, but nothing came out, like one of those old-time movies. F and K were the same way. None of us could hear anything, even each other. It was weird as expletive. Pardon my French, sir. We were about to turn around and get out of there when Jay started and spun around looking at the wall like he'd seen a ghost or bear or something. Whatever it was, though, it must have gotten behind me because I saw something. Can you describe it? Never got a good look at it, sir. It was big and moving, but only out of the corner of my eye. And there wasn't anything there when I turned to stare. I couldn't hear her, but F looked like she was screaming and looking around all over the place on the edge of panic. K bowled back for the entrance, and it was like she was drunk, stumbling, staggering, slipping on bits and gravel. When I followed you... You ever tried running when you can't hear your own footsteps, sir? It's freaky, and turns out it's really hard. I was sober as a churchman, tripping over myself worse than she was, and that, whatever it was still there. I was at the corner of my eye. We made it to the tunnel, and all of a sudden I could hear again like nothing had ever been wrong. Crunching of feet on rock, everyone gasping for breath. The works and whatever that thing had been, it was gone. Okay? I bruised her ankle a bit, but she could walk, and we had a first aid kit in the car. We made it back to the second cabin, but then the lights went out. The lights went out. Please clarify. This guy had a fucking... This group had a traumatic event. They had descent light. Because they didn't actually bump into any monsters, but they definitely could have. But it's so creepy. Like, as he said, like, do you know how weird it must sound like to run, but you don't hear your own footsteps? That must be a weird sensation. Honestly, that must be an odd sensation to have. I don't know how. I feel like I'd be very put off. I feel like it's like a similar sensation when you speak to a microphone and you hear yourself speaking. You know, like when you like have a program where you can like change your voice, or like when you're recording something, or like you hear yourself on the other side of the Discord call, and you hear yourself way too loud and clear. So whenever you speak and you hear yourself like a millisecond afterwards, it's just something about it just jostles your brain a little bit. You're like, wait, hold on, I can't really think because I'm listening to myself speaking, even though I should just ignore myself. It's a weird sensation, but I think it's like in a similar vein as that, as in like your brain kind of wants to make you go like, stop, what the hell is happening? Mean just what I said, sir. Like the first time, only this time I was blind. At first I thought my headlamp had sorted out, but I couldn't see the others' helmets. Even the glass was still hot. Sure enough, the others were blinded too. We could talk now. Couldn't have been more than 50 feet to the other side from what I remember. Dangerous to travel in the dark. Or if we took it slow and careful, but then I heard it. Maybe it was that thing from before, but it was coming up the tunnel behind us. Oh god, that's fucking terrifying. That is so terrifying. Because like at the end you don't even know if that thing is real. Like from the Foundation point of view, like they probably say like, oh, it's just part of the anomaly effect. It's supposed to make you think there's something there. But at the end, like it could be actually something there at the end, like, you know. But the idea of, oh my god, the idea of not being able to hear anything, but seeing something from the corner of your eye, being after you, and then afterwards switching to like you can't see shit, but you hear something coming at you. No, Mama, no, please. tuck me tight in bed and never make sure nothing can touch me. God damn. Noises like claws on stone, not loud, but they were getting louder and we couldn't see a thing. Jay started panting, then said he could hear someone with big heavy boots coming up the tunnel. Kate just screamed snake and started scrambling across where she thought the other side of the cabin was. Jay was next, yelling and crawling after her in the dark, and I was right on his heels. That thing was in the cabin. I could hear it and getting closer. It looks like they all are hearing something else. They probably also all saw something else. All that was on my mind was getting away. F was behind me at first, but then we all heard her scream and that crunching. Okay, so I knew it had gotten her, whatever it was, but God, sir, all I could do was run for my life. I didn't even stop, ran into the wall and started feeling my way along. Jay made it out first and was shouting out where the exit was for us. I swear the thing was right behind me when I ran into Jay and I could see again. And behind you? Blackness, just a solid sheet of black, like someone had hung a curtain from the roof of the tunnel. The helmet lights just stopped when they hit it, but I didn't stop to check it out. We ran like rabbits through the first cave and outside. Thank you, Mister. The medic outside would like to examine you again now. Mr. B, Mr. N, and Mrs. M were given Class B amnestics and returned to their homes after a brief recovery period in a local hospital. Mrs. L remains were recovered from component 3 of SCP-1303 and autopsied? Yeah. Cause of death was determined to be cranial trauma caused when Mrs. L tripped and struck her head against a protruding stalagmite despite her protective headgear. The body was returned to its family to maintain the cover story of a tragic cave diving accident, and SCP-1303's current isolation and containment procedures were implemented. Investigation of the National Speleological Society discussing forum revealed no trace of any post describing the location of SCP-1303. So this, okay, let's talk about this real quick. Because I did ask, like, was the thing that I was wondering if that thing that was chasing them, was it actually there or not? So at first, it seemed like it was supposed to be there. Because like he said, like, oh, we heard that crunching sound, and like that's where I knew it got them. So at first, like I was like, oh, so the thing that they're running away from is real, or whatever variation of what they're hearing, it might be real to them. Like if somebody hears like claws, it might be something that has claws. If somebody says snake, it might be a snake-like creature. And then when that person died, that's the creature getting them, and they just all hear different creatures getting them. But the end shows no. They died because they got impaled on a stalagmite from like tripping. Now, I want to know, does that mean the creature is not real? That the sound that they heard was just like to replace the actual death sound, as in like she died on getting impaled, but they all heard like some sort of animal attacking them? Or did an actual animal attack them, and that stalagmite is just a switcheroo, like an actual being, an actual creature attacked them and ate them, but for anybody who wasn't there originally, if they find the corpse, they see a more accidental death. So which one is it? Is it the creature is actually there? And the death just gets replaced at the end by something more accidental? Or the creature is not there, but the death that they went through will make it sound like a creature attacked them. What do you guys think? Because I am curious what you guys think about this one.